We're diving into a survival scenario today that is incredibly personal, because it's about something you literally look at every single night. We're going to break down exactly what would happen if the moon just vanished. And spoiler alert, this isn't just some fun, abstract physics problem. It's a terrifying, step-by-step timeline of your world completely unraveling. I want you to drop yourself right into this scenario. Last night, you went to sleep. The moon was out up there, glowing, totally reliable, doing exactly what it's done for 4.5 billion years. But then, you wake up this morning. You brew your coffee, you step outside, the sun is shining, maybe the birds are singing, but the moon is just gone. Literally nowhere to be found.
And here's the crazy part. There's no massive sci-fi explosion in the sky. There are no warning sirens blaring. Just an empty, gaping patch of space. Now, most people's very first thought would probably be, I guess we'll just have darker nights. Whatever, life goes on. And honestly, they would be catastrophically wrong. Because the moon is not just some giant nightlight. It is absolutely crucial. It's the single most important reason your entire world actually works. Without it, everything you know falls apart. Beneath the surface of what feels like a perfectly normal morning, 4 massive, unstoppable chains of events have already been triggered. You just don't know it yet, but you will. Starting tonight.
Which brings us to Phase 1. Tonight, the tides stop.
If you live anywhere near the coast, you are going to notice this the absolute second the sun goes down today. See, right now, the moon's intense gravity is acting like this invisible, massive hand, literally pulling Earth's oceans back and forth. Take that away, and we're left relying entirely on the sun's incredibly distant, much weaker gravity. The tides instantly drop to just 1/3 of their normal strength. So, if you were to walk down to the beach tonight, the water would just sit there, dead flat, unnaturally still. It would feel so deeply wrong.
And this kicks off a terrifying domino effect. Step 1, like we said, the tides plummet. Step 2, all those coastal estuaries and tidal pools, which, by the way, are the feeding grounds for half of all marine life, they just fail because they don't get that rhythmic flushing of water. Step 3, without that tidal push and pull, global ocean circulation starts slowing down. And step 4, within just weeks, the entire marine food web collapses. Those fish that billions of people rely on for survival, they just disappear.
Now let's move into later this week where things get visceral. Dangerous nights.
The oceans are dying, sure, but what you are going to physically feel is the intense change in the sky. Normally, the moon acts like a giant mirror, reflecting about 30% of the sun's light back down to us on Earth. We've literally always had that soft silver glow. If you take that away, the nights don't just get darker, they become profoundly, overwhelmingly black.
We are talking about ancient dark, a heavy, impenetrable pitch black that human beings simply haven't experienced since way before recorded history. Visually, yeah, it would be breathtaking. You'd look up and see the entire Milky Way glowing with staggering perfection. But that temporary beauty is masking absolute terror down on the surface. Because hundreds of species evolved to specifically rely on moonlight. Take away that light, and a lion out on the savannah suddenly can't hunt its prey. Prey populations start exploding out of control. Sea turtle hatchlings, they use the moon's reflection to find the ocean, and now they just wander aimlessly and perish. Nocturnal spawning completely fails. Basically, millions of years of perfectly tuned evolution destabilizes in a matter of months. And honestly, you'd feel it too. Something primal deep in your bones evolved under that moonlight. Without it, your brain instinctively knows you are in grave danger.
Now, let's fast forward to next year. Seasonal collapse.
This right here is the absolute most catastrophic consequence of losing the moon, and yet almost nobody ever thinks about it. 23.5 degrees. That is the exact angle our Earth is tilted at relative to the sun. And that precise, mathematically perfect tilt is exactly what gives us predictable summers and winters. It is literally the life-giving heartbeat of our planet.
But why does the Earth stay perfectly tilted at 23.5 degrees? It's all because of the moon. Think of it like a giant gyroscope. You know, one of those spinning wheels that perfectly holds its balance? The moon's gravity is our cosmic gyroscope. It is literally gripping our planet's axis and stabilizing it.
Without the moon holding us steady, the Earth just starts to wobble. It would happen slowly at first, but over thousands of years, we'd be swinging wildly out of control. Let's look at the numbers here. At a 10-degree wobble, our seasons get noticeably weird. At 20 degrees, some regions of the planet just stop getting winter altogether. At 30 degrees, literal ice starts forming at the equator. And if we hit a 45-degree wobble, you're looking at parts of the planet baking in continuous, brutal daylight for months, while other parts are totally frozen in absolute, non-stop darkness.
Let's bring this planetary wobble right down to your family's survival. A wobbling planet means wildly unpredictable seasons. You have no idea when winter is coming or if summer is going to last for 6 months or 2 weeks. And if you can't predict the seasons, well, you can't plant crops. Agriculture becomes mathematically impossible. When you take away predictable seasons, human civilization simply collapses. End of story.
Which brings us to the deeper truth behind all of this.
We need to slow down for a second and just look at the staggering cosmic history here. About 4.5 billion years ago, a massive object, roughly the size of Mars, absolutely smashed into the early Earth. It was an unimaginably violent, cataclysmic impact. But over millennia, the glowing debris from that collision coalesced and formed our moon. It was an almost impossible cosmic accident, but it gave us the stable, perfectly tilted conditions that allowed complex life, that allowed us to evolve in the first place.
There's this quote: "The moon is not a decoration in your sky. It is the reason you are alive to look at it." And I think that hits the nail on the head. Every time you've looked up at a giant, glowing full moon and felt that undeniable sense of wonder, you were actually feeling something intensely real. You were feeling a direct connection to the exact thing that made your existence possible. So, the next time you step outside at night, take a second to look up, because that glowing rock is holding our oceans, our ecosystems, and the literal tilt of our world together. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative question, right? What else is holding your world together without you even knowing it?